Hello, and welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. How is everybody? I haven't seen you in about, 6 weeks or so. One of my regulars, DG, thanks, was like, "Hey, where are you? There's stuff happening, and you're not out there telling us about it." So I said, "I better do a show." And I had family in town this week, so this is my only free day. So I'm back, and we're going to talk about what the Bears did this week, and some other things that went on around the league. So it's good to be back. I love. My fans, if you're not a regular, welcome. And I'll do a show today. We'll talk about what the Bears have been up to. And unless some blockbuster things happen, I'll be back at the end of April again for the draft. Just to let you know, I've done 2 seasons, and the beginning of this season, 2022, September will be my 3rd for doing the show. So, welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears, and I hope everybody's doing good. I'm doing good, just, living life. So let's get to football. First of all, I want to do a shout out to my man. Now, if you're a regular, I'm a Mitchell Trubisky fan, and I thought he got screwed by Nagy, and he should actually still be on the Bears. But he's not, and we know that. So I want to give him a congratulations. He signed a 2-year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I hope he takes them all the way this year to the Super Bowl. I do. I'm a big fan of his, and I think he's better than what Nagy did to him. So good luck, Mitchell. I'm with you, my friend. So let's get to what's been going on. So the Bears did make some releases this week. They released Danny Trevathan, Tariq Cohen, Eddie Goldman. Now, none of those 3 are a surprise. Danny, he was kind of getting up there. Tariq just could not come back from that ACL injury. He actually had several surgeries over the last few years. And Eddie Goldman, to be honest with you, he was really balling. And then when COVID hit, he took that 1 year off in 2020, and when he came back last year, he just wasn't the same. I don't know what was going on, or 2019. I can't remember when he took off, but 2020, I think. So, and with Eddie being released, it saves the Bears $6.66 million in the cap space. So that helps. And, of course, the big trade, a lot of people are pissed about, but let's talk about it, is Mack going to the Chargers. Cleo Mack, I got to tell you, I'm not surprised by this one at all either. It will save the Bears over the next couple of years over $58 million. So there was 3 years left on Mack's contract because Pace gave him this huge player-friendly contract. So this year the Bears will save $6.15 million in the salary cap. Next year they'll save $28.5 million, and in 2024 they will save $23.5 million, which pretty much is close to $58 million they're going to save. Now, Mack turned 31 this February. The Bears also receive another second rounder for the draft this year in 2022 and a 6th rounder in the draft for 2023. We really need draft picks, so now the Bears have 6. Entering this week, they had 5. And so now they have 2 second rounders, which will really help. So I know a lot of people were pissed about it, and I have mixed feelings. I like the fact that it saves the Bears a lot of money. The Bears are going for youth. And Mack, the last 2 years, was hurt a lot, especially this year. He just did not play a lot. And I wish him luck. Good man, great guy. But you know what? We're heading in another direction, people. They're going for youth. And you want talent, of course. Youth isn't always everything, but Mack was hurt a lot. So you just don't know what you're going to get this year from him. So I like the trade. I think it definitely is a win for the Bears, I feel, because they're saving a lot of money. They're getting another draft pick. Of course, we have to go out and get somebody that's going to complement our defensive line. But and we need another guy who can create sacks. So let's see what happens. But you know what, people, look at it this way. It is, I mean, he was hurt a lot, and good luck to him. But we save a lot of money, get another draft pick. So kind of look at it that way. Don't be like, oh, here the Bears go again. We got to build a team, and you don't want to have. Some guys that are, kind of pulling it down. And with that salary he was getting, he was pulling it down, and he wasn't earning his keep, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. Good luck to you, Mac, and let's see what the Bears do with that position. Then you all know Allen Robinson is gone. I don't know how people feel that. I'm kind of glad. I thought he was getting a little bit too full of himself, but he got a nice contract with the Rams, so good for him. So he's gone. Obviously, we're going to have to fill that position, and we will. Our punter, Patrick O'Donnell, is heading up north to Green Bay. He did a 2-year deal with them, so he's gone, and I don't really care either way about that. He was good sometimes, not so good. So let's go out and get a punter. I don't know if they're going to pick one up, or I hear rumblings that there is one or two guys in the draft that the Bears could go get late if he makes it, because there's a couple punters out there that are really good. So let's see what happens. And then James Daniels from our offensive line, he has a new contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers, so he has a new home too, so he's gone. All right. So what else? Then the Bears gave our long snapper, Patrick Sales, an extension, so he'll be around, and he's a good long snapper, and long snappers are important because they could make or break field goals. So it's real important to have a good one, and he is a keeper. So that's kind of what the Bears, as far as getting rid of players and extensions. So let's talk about free agency this week, which was crazy for some teams. I mean, we're going to talk about that too, but let's talk about what the Bears did. They have signed 4 officially, and there's another one that they picked up last night, supposedly made a deal with, but I haven't seen that he's been officially signed yet, but let's talk about it. So the first one is Nicholas Marrow. He's a linebacker. He's 26. He spent his first 5 seasons with the Raiders, and he's appeared in 62 games with 29 starts from 2017 to 2020. So he's got some good things. He's got like 254 tackles, 20 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 2 interceptions, 20 breakups, pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery. So, and he's young. So let's see what Marrow has. We need linebackers. We got rid of Danny. And we need help there, so that's a good thing. I like this one. We'll see what happens. Then we went and got Lucas Patrick, who is an O-lineman. He's 28. He spent his first 6 seasons with the Packers, and Packers and Bears seem to be going back and forth. He appeared in 73 games with 34 starts. And our new offensive coordinator, Luke Gitsy, I don't know how to spell. You know me, I cannot pronounce last names. But Luke, our offensive coordinator, is very familiar with Patrick, and he's really glad they went and got him because Luke was also the offensive coordinator for Green Bay. So he's probably why we brought him over. He probably saw a lot of potential in this guy. He became a regular starter in 2020 for the Packers, and he opened 15 games. He started 15 games at guard. He did remain at guard until he got a concussion last year, and then he was replaced by the Packers' number 1 offensive pick, John Rian. So he went out with a concussion, and then the rookie came in and took his spot. So I don't know. I like them. I like these picks. All these picks so far everybody is under 30 years old. So you see the trend that Ryan Poles is taking. He's going for youth, and I think that's a great idea. I would like to see the Bears get some more offensive linemen. This is that's important. I'm sure the Bears are going to go after offensive linemen in the draft too. But I do know I looked last night and there's still some offensive linemen out there. But the ones I saw, a lot of them were in their 30s, and I just don't think the Bears are going to sign anybody. I could be wrong, of course. Rarely am I wrong, right? Regulars, just kidding. But I don't think they're going to sign anybody. And I don't want an old offensive lineman. I just don't. We've got enough of that on our team. But we know how important the offensive line is. We do, because what happened the last few years. And for Justin Fields to really shine and do better this year, he has to have time to be able to see the field and do what he does. So it's real important that the Bears get that offensive line problem taken care of. So with free agency, I wouldn't mind seeing if they could get another one, and then I have a pretty good feeling he's going to try to get in the second round some offensive linemen. So now that we have 2 second-round picks, that'll help. We don't have a first-round pick because of Justin Fields. We lost that when we got him a year ago. Then the Bears signed St. Brown. He is a wide receiver. They signed him to a 1-year deal, and he's coming from Green Bay. He is 25. The Green Bay picked him 6th in the 6th round of the 2018 draft, and he was out of Notre Dame. And he is the second player that we have signed through Green Bay. So I like it. He doesn't have, he was a little bit lower on the list, but he started to improve as the years went on. So he's young. Let's bring him in and see what he has. Now, remember, the Bears can sign these guys to contracts, and then if they, come into camp and this and that, and the Bears don't like it, they're going to be gone. So, it's not, certain that they could make the team, but most likely these guys they're signing will make the team. But I like it. I didn't get to see his height. That was the one thing I couldn't seem to find, but if I looked a little harder, I would have found it. But I'd like a nice compliment to Mr. Mooney on the other side and have him a little taller, but let's see. But so he's which we need help at wide receiver because we know Allen Robinson's gone, and Mr. Mooney, as I said, when Mr. Mooney was a rookie, I told you guys he was going to be a starter, and I was so right about that. I love that guy. So we do need a compliment, so welcome St. Brown. And then on Friday, they boosted their defense by signing Justin Jones, a D tackle, to a 2-year contract. Another young guy. Jones was 25. He played for the Chargers, and he was selected in the 3rd round of the 2018 draft. He played in 51 games with 35 starts. And he's done some good things as well. So he's recorded 63 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 12 tackles for loss, a couple fumble recoveries, and 1 forced fumble. So that's a good thing. So these guys may not have spectacular numbers, but it doesn't sound like they've played, but not a super lot. So let's throw them in and see what they got. Let's see what we got here. Again, youth, 25 years old. Then the Bears went, and this is the one I'm not sure about. This one's the one I read last night. Byron Pringle. He's a wide receiver. He spent his first 2 years with the Kansas City Chiefs, so he played with them last year. He came to the reason you're like 28 and he only played 2 seasons, he came to the NFL when he was only 25. He was 25, so he because he went to a junior college, and then later on he transferred to a 4-year college, and that's when he was finally drafted 2 years ago. I think he was an undrafted free agent. He was with Case. He was the Kansas City's 3rd wide receiver, and I'm thinking this guy might be a diamond in the rough, a surprise. You know what I mean? But there's, I just have a feeling about him. I read them. They said one of the reporters said he could have a breakout year this year. And if he could really gel with Justin Fields, there might be a surprise here. And wouldn't that be great? A nice surprise wide receiver with Mr. Mooney. And then Justin Fields could have 2 targets because that's what we need to do. He has got to have 2 targets on wide receivers that he can count on, and then, of course, his tight ends. We are set at tight ends. We don't need to go out and get that. So it would be really nice to have a surprise, you know what I mean? To pick up somebody that surprises them, like, yeah. But there's no contract information on him yet because he hasn't officially been signed. So that should happen this weekend unless something happens. Like this next one. We signed, we were in the they did sign a defensive tackle, Larry Ogunjabi, and he came from Cincinnati, and he was a 6th-year pro, but he failed, and we signed him to a 3-year contract early in the week, but on Thursday he failed his physical, and the team said, no, bye-bye. And Ryan Pace did write, he said this was a very difficult decision for everybody involved, but ultimately it was the best interest of the protecting the Chicago Bears. Yeah, if you can't sign somebody if you can't pass the physical. And clearly there must have been some issues because the Bears went and got him. He was the first one we signed this week in free agency. So they really wanted him, but he couldn't pass the physical. So there was obviously something going on there, and that's unfortunate for both parties. But it happened. So that did not work out. I'm really hoping Akeem Hicks, I'm a huge fan of him, number 96. I would love him to come back for the Bears next season. I know he wants to finish a Bear, but I don't know if the Bears are going to do that. I would like to. Really, I bet the Bears probably offered him something, but it wasn't a lot of money. But if he took it, but he's, I know he's 32, and he was in and out this season too. He was hurt a lot, but when he was in, he just changed the defense. He brought them up another level whenever he played, and he can stop the run. The run is usually stopped when he's in there. And so I'd love to see him. I don't know if somebody's going to take a chance with him. If not, come on back, Akeem. We want you. We want you. I love that guy. So let's keep our fingers crossed. But again, I say, Poles, you can see, is going for youth. He's building youth around like Justin Fields and some of the younger Roquan Smith, Mr. Mooney on defense, those guys, Jalen Johnson on defense. So he's trying to bring other people in that are young to complement these guys we have now. So being that he's 32, I don't know. I would love it. I don't think he'll be back, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed because he's like a presence in the locker room, Hicks. And that's important for a young team. You do need somebody to have that presence and step up and be a leader. And I think Akeem is. So we'll see. Maybe the Bears will do it. We don't know. So that's really what the Bears have done so far. Now, it's only week one in the free agency, and there's still quite a few. What was it, like, I don't know, 80 free agent players out there still, if not more. A lot of them are in the 30s. There's a lot of them we don't want, but we'll see what what Ryan Poles does here next week. You never know. They've got money to spend, that's for sure, because they saved it, and that was their goal. So we'll see what happens. I like what they've done so far. I know a lot of people are pissed about Mac, but get over it. We're saving money, and they're looking for the future. So look at it that way. And we'll see. But there was a lot of blockbuster trades and free agencies this week. One, which is really good for the Bears, is Dante Adams is no longer with Green Bay. Poor Aaron Rodgers. Ooh, not. He went with the Raiders, and that's a good thing for the Bears because we don't have to face him anymore. So that's a good thing because he's a really good wide receiver. And there's no way that Green Bay could afford Rodgers and Dante Adams. So you knew Adams was gone, and I love it. Of course, it would have been nice if he had landed with the Bears, but I don't see the Bears making any blockbuster, big money free agencies. I just don't see it right now. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to be very cautious this year, see what happens. Poles is new. Let's see his ability, what the players are that he has picked up, and we'll go from there. Another big one, Watson is going to Cleveland with a huge 5-year contract. He was the quarterback out of Texas, the Texans, who has all those legal troubles. He still has civil suits pending, but Cleveland's, and everything was guaranteed. In my opinion, Cleveland has made a huge mistake, but I could be wrong. He could be a really good quarterback. Now the thing is, he didn't play last year, and he wasn't hurt. So, but I don't know. All that guaranteed money, but that's not our problem because that's Cleveland's problem. But poor Baker Mayfield, he's like, hey man, so I'm thinking Baker's going to go to Indianapolis. That's where I think he's going to end up. So we'll see. What else? I'm trying to think. Was there another one? Well, we know that Russell Wilson is now with Denver. So he's out of Seattle, another big move. And then, of course, Tom Brady is out of retirement. He's back. I don't really care either way about him. He's not in our division, so I don't really care. I hate to see teams that are always in it winning, but, we'll see what happens. So that's kind of what happened this week. It was a pretty big week, some big moves. We'll see what happens next week, right? So, again, the Bears, people, they're going for youth. It's quite obvious. And so far, they're not giving any huge contracts out. I think they're being cautious. Smart, but cautious. And, I don't want too much, but it is Ryan Poles' first year. So let's not get all over his ass and be like, oh, my God, blah, blah, blah. Let's wait and see, okay, people? I was talking to some people about that, and I did talk them off the ledge because it's true. It just started. So let's see what he does in the draft. He's got 6 draft picks right now. I don't know how we would get any more because I don't think we have anybody else we can trade. We really need the rest of our players. So I'm thinking we're going in with 6 draft picks. So let's see what Ryan pulls out. The draft is at the end of April in Vegas, baby. Yeah. So that'll be cool. And, baseball's back. So that's good. They're finally off their strike. And so we'll see what happens. That's really, it. I'm liking what's going on with the Bears. You can send your comments. Tell me what you think. It's interesting what's happening around the league. I'm liking that. And I love that Rodgers lost his favorite target. Yes. Because if you watch my show, I am not a Green Bay fan. Well, any true Bear fan cannot be a Green Bay Packer fan. They are our rivals, and look what they've done to us the last 20 years. So it's time to flip the page and go back and start beating up on them like we did in the 80s and 90s. And then now it's time for us to start beating them up, okay, like we did back then, okay? So let's go. So that's about it. No other big things to report. Those are pretty big. It was an interesting week. So that's the updates. Unless something really big happens, I'll probably wait to the end of April, and we'll talk about the draft once the Bears finish the 2022 draft. And then they start mini camps. And then in end of July, starts regular camp, and then before you know it, we'll be in September and football will start. And I cannot wait. Also, in a couple weeks, I am going to be a grandmother for the first time. So I'm anxiously awaiting the next Chicago Bears fan. Yes, he will be. He's my grandson, and he's coming. And he is. People say, oh, he could be a Raiders fan because we live in Vegas. That's not happening. He is going to be a Chicago Bears fan. And I just wanted to give a wonderful shout out. I don't know if they'll be watching the show, but I wanted to just say to my niece, had a great time with you guys. They were in town this week. She brought her husband and her 3 kids, and we had a blast. And I saw Vegas a little different. I saw Vegas through family eyes, and we had a lot of fun. So, yes. And so on that note, I'm going to stop talking. I hope you watch it. I will be back. I want to thank my new subscribers. I had gotten quite a few subscribers at the end of the season, after the season was over, when we fired everybody, is when people started listening again. So, welcome. You know how my show is going to go. I don't do a lot in the off season because there's really not a lot to talk about. So, I'll see you guys. Unless the Bears do something phenomenal, which I do not anticipate. I'll see you at the end of April for the draft, end of April, early May, and then we'll go from there. I always appreciate you guys watching me. I do miss you, but I'll be back. I'm not going anywhere. And as I always end my shows, please be kind. Let's just stick together. This COVID is starting to go away, and then all the other things that are going on in the world, like Ukraine. God bless the Ukraine people. I just feel bad for them. And, this world is a tough world right now we're living in. So, I met a lot of really nice people down when I was staying on the Strip this week, and it was really felt good to see these people and being so kind to each other and nice. And let's just keep doing that because we need each other. We totally need each other to get through these rough times. So hang in. I love you. Keep on watching my show. Tell everybody about me. I'm fun. Next year when we start my third season, 2022, I'm going to come back with great bear stories, and we'll go from there. So, as always, I love you. And keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby. Bye-bye.